Hey, welcome back to the show. The show about the show. Well, the show about the show. This is the appropriate title. Oh wait. Oh, there you are. Okay, you're back.
Turned into a robot for a second.
For a little bit. Yeah, it was just a still image, but you're back now. You're back.
Yeah. Well, welcome back to the show. That is a show.
It is a show. And it is technically also about a show. You know, I didn't know this. So we forgot to search if the show actually already existed. And apparently the only thing that's been named the show, at least the only thing that came up like on the first page of Google, it was like this weird it was this show that hosted by this guy. I don't even know who he was. It was like early 2000s or something, and I can't even remember what it was about. They were like talking about shows, I think, so it was called the show, and it was basically the same premise, except they were actually talking about, I think, TV shows and stuff like that.
So, but we're talking about the show of life, basically. Is that how we're shows the show?
Yeah. Or I suppose we're talking about this show. That could be another aspect of it. I never thought about it.
The show you're talking about, we're talking about the show itself right now.
Yeah, it actually works in that way too.
Okay. Just so everyone can see, I'm making some lunch.
Nice.
Chicken
What
sausage,
you got there?
Chicken sausage, cabbage, basmati rice.
Ooh. Sounds good.
Yeah.
I've just got cold coffee here, left over from this morning. I've just been kind of sipping it as I go, you know.
Could you hear the sizzling of all of the food there coming into when I was putting it into my bowl?
I could a little bit. The audio kind of like it cuts out every now and then, a little bit.
Yeah, because usually it's a figure of speech to say sounds good, but it literally sounded good.
Yeah, I could hear the cutting in of the sizzling. So it sounds like a good meal. It looked good too. I could get that visual there.
I guess usually when you say it sounds good, it's because someone's like described it using language.
I think it was a combination of everything. I got a little bit of all three senses. You like described what it was. I got to see it, and then I also could hear the sizzling of the cooking. It really I feel like I'm getting the full experience, like as if I was in the kitchen there, you know? Maybe not that good, but
Almost as if you were in the kitchen. You're just missing three senses. I mean, you're missing two senses: touch and taste, right?
yeah,
and smell.
yeah,
That's
and
three.
smell too.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, I guess it's not quite as good, but you know, it's the best that you can get in this kind of circumstance, you know?
Yeah, the best you can get. That's good enough for me.
I agree. Yeah. You know, I always say as long as we've got a show, that's the premise. The show.
That's what. Are you telling me that that's what you always say? Because we've never heard you say that before.
I'm saying it now. I'm telling you that's the new thing. We've got the show, the show about the show. It is the show that exists because there's a show.
And as long as we've got the show, then what? Then we're all good.
Yeah, then we're all set. We're all set as long as we've got a show.
All right, that sounds good to me. I'm just gonna make sure that my computer can connect to the internet.
Ah, gotcha. That's good.
Sometimes it doesn't like that. Do that.
Yeah, I've had problems before too. So far, so good in this place. So far.
So how's your what laundry system are you using?
I'm using a it's like a stacked unit, Ever seen one of those? It's like kind of you got washer on the bottom, dry at the top. I don't know the brand name of it.
Yeah. So what I'm curious about is like, what is your strategy for doing laundry? Like, is there a certain day of the week, or is it like just whenever you run out?
Right now, yeah, it's kind of like on a basis where like I'll look at the my little got a little bin that I put my dirty laundry in. Once it starts filling up, sometimes it overfills. You know, I'll be honest. Sometimes it's spilling out. Once I look at that and I'm like, I've got to do some clothes right now. So I start a load. I do the darks and the lights. Don't know if that's even that important, but it's something that
never
was just passed
I've never
down.
seen that like work. I've never seen it work. Like I just do it all at the once, but you know, do as you please, you know. But like people will come up to me and they're saying, "Oh yeah, my mom said, you know, you got to do the lights and the darks." I mean, the only thing I've heard about laundry that's important is if you want your like cotton shirts to last a long time, you can always wash in cold water and air dry, like hang dry it. But besides that, I mean, you just huck it all in there at once.
Yeah, I've never done the cottons thing. Probably just out of like a sense of just a partial not wanting to have to put in that much effort. Like I'm already doing the darks and the lights separately. I can't be bothered to like, you know, be separating out the cottons as well. I've been tempted in the past. Like I only do it because it's something that you know, gets passed down. Like it's like a family thing where like, you know, that's how you've always done it when you were living at home. So now it's just continued on. It's
Just muscle memory.
kind of, yeah. Yeah. I've thought about giving it up, but then there's something about the tradition where you're just like, I guess I got to keep doing this. And so you just keep doing it.
So something about tradition, you're choosing to continue the tradition because it works for you and you don't want to mess it up.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's like a weird thing where like, you know that nothing bad is going to happen if you throw the lights and the darks together. I think honestly, it probably only matters when you just buy the clothes because you don't want any like, you know, any of the ink. I can't remember what I heard this somewhere, but when you have new clothes, you want to, hey, got two of you.
Hey, does it
Oh, no,
look like it's Halloween, right?
it is Halloween. Yeah, yeah. It does kind of have that spooky vibe. You got a little flashing light and your voice is kind of like it's echoing.
How's this? Is this better or worse?
Oh yeah, I can see the light a lot better. Yeah, yeah.
I want it to stop flashing.
There's
Right,
also an audio thing going on there.
Yeah, I just hung up on here. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. I'll wait here for a second and then I'll get the light on, but just getting myself all set up here.
Nice, nice.
Okay.
I think there's an echo. Like
There's an echo still?
yeah. Oh no, nope, not anymore. It cleared up.
So there's not an echo anymore.
No echo.
Okay, cool.
See, the weird thing, I don't even know if that's gonna show up on the recording because last time, I'm sure you saw, but when I was when you hung up and it was just me on the screen, the camera was like glitching, and I didn't see that in the recording, which was interesting. Just didn't pick up.
I'm hearing a weird high pitch sound.
Oh, that's not good. I do not hear that, but where's that coming from? I think my mic's plugged in okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah. Your camera, I think it's frozen though.
Okay, we're back now. But anyway, there's this Goal Zero. It's like a charging thing, and it was just squeaking.
Oh, that doesn't sound like a good sign.
Nope. But when you diagnose the problem and you find the answer, then you're happy.
Yeah, yeah. Very good, very good. Anyways, with the darks and whites, I know for sure that nothing bad will happen if I mix them.
Yeah.
But there's like this like something in the back of your mind where you're like you do it and then like a monster just like comes out of like the washing machine and just starts like beating you up or something. Like, there's a weird thing like that superstition in the back of your head where you're like, I don't know, like, should I try it? Like one just like throw them all in. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of a metaphor for our experience with other races, black people and other people. We want to integrate with everybody else, and sometimes you think there's a monster that's going to beat the shit out of you. If you're going to integrate with other races, you're not familiar with them.
Oh man, I didn't think about it from like a perspective of are you saying if the clothes were like were sentient beings, if they were actually like, and then you're segregating them and it's fucked up because you're like, you should just be, doing the laundry. So like, is that the implication here? Because like, man, yeah, no, if my sweater was alive and wanted like, I just put them all together,
Yeah. Well, you could take it that way, but I think I'm talking more literally like if we were raised in the tradition where the most of the people I know are white, and then I know some black people that I played football with. That's all we know, like this tradition of you separating the blacks and the whites, right? Not that we're choosing that, it's just what we have been raised with. And then later on, doing something you're not used to, what you said, these little monsters come out and you think that your laundry is going to turn into like it's going to turn into George Bush, like if George Bush mated with the devil, and it's just like this scary thing launching out. It's that kind of just thing, like the fear of, something being different.
Yeah. I mean, some would say that he has mated with the devil on multiple occasions.
Some would say.
I'm mainly just joking about the laundry thing. It's like one of those things where you're like, you're doing it and you're like, I don't know, like a more appropriate example would be like, what is it just gonna like ruin my clothes? And then you're like, no, it's obviously not. I've done it before in the past too. When I've been lazy enough, I've just thrown all the clothes in there, and yet I continue to do it, even though I know, like, I know nothing bad is gonna happen. It's I guess the monster coming out of the laundry machine was kind of an excessive example, but it's kind of like this weird thing in the back of your head where you're just like, I guess I got to keep doing this, but because your family told you, like, like you gotta separate those clothes.
Yeah, well, I was just the George Bush thing for me. I was just trying to paint a picture of like this ghoul or ghost shooting out of the laundry machine as soon as you open it, after like the blacks and the whites have fused together, in this fearful imagery that we've got inside the laundry machine. And for those of you that are listening that know Pokemon, I was imagining Ghastly, or one of these Pokemon that's like a little black triangle and he's got a scary face on him with like a mouth. Did you ever play Pokemon?
Yeah. That's a childhood classic. That's used to have it on the old DS. I think you remember that too. That was like on road trips, Remember playing the Pokemon games?
Dude, I played so much Pokemon. It's crazy. I'm just trying to pull up a picture here. It's not Ghastly. It's yeah, I guess the best one is Snarlet. This is pretty close to what I was talking about.
Okay, yeah.
You all see this? Yeah. So that's the George Bush and the whole devil thing. That's all I was talking about. The words didn't come to me.
Now I've kind of like I'm imagining like that and George Bush just kind of infused together, jumping out of my my utility closet there, just and it's not even just only if I mix the whites and the darker clothes together. It's just coming out of there no matter what. Now it's just every time I do laundry, it's just waiting. It's waiting there.
That's terrifying.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to be careful next time I need to clean my clothes.
Giorgio.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you. Yeah, yeah. Mic quality shot up there. Could tell.
Yep. Just got to make sure we're checking all the boxes.
Definitely, definitely. It's funny too, because we had the George Bush jokes back on the podcast. I think we talked about this off screen, but thought it I thought it was kind of funny. I was thinking about it because like we did have that Russia flag because we had the Russia jokes. You know what I mean? It was like George Bush, Russia, the Pope. We had like these jokes going on, and it's funny now that like they were up there all the time. But if someone went back and watched or just stumbled upon a Not Your Cousin's podcast episode and clicked on it, and there was no mention of the Russia joke, they just see the Russia flag behind there. It was before, you know, the whole thing in Ukraine happened. So it's not like they'd see the date and they'd know that there's no like reference to it. But
Yeah, you
it's,
always got to check the date. You always
you
got to
do.
check.
You do.
Now I have a question for you. Do you see on when you're looking at yourself in the picture, do you see that your computer screen is there on the left side?
Oh, I do see that. Yeah. No, I mistook that for a border. Let's see if we can fix that here. Live show diagnosing here. Let's see if I can fix this camera angle without having to take off my headphones. There.
You got it. Oh, it's still there.
Oh,
It's
is
going
it?
back.
No. I don't want to have to.
Okay.
There we go.
I don't
I'm
see
gonna
it
have to
anymore.
loosen the camera mount, so I was just kind of using force to try and leverage it. There we go. Better.
Good job.
See, the thing is now, the thing that gets me, I guess I can always move over this side, but my screen's here, right? And like I feel like I should be centered on the screen. I gotta figure out how to do that.
Because you want to have a good posture and also be centered on the screen. Yeah, well, right now you're not centered. Let me tell you that.
Yeah, I'm definitely over to the side a little bit. I can tell that. I'll have to either mess around with the setup, mess where my screen is, try and position myself.
You can figure that out later if you want, or we could do it right now.
We could. It's live diagnosing. It kind of fits the premise if you think about it, you know, like the show of the show, like you just see behind the scenes. Can you imagine if there was a TV show with like plot and stuff like that, and all of a sudden they just started diagnosing problems right there in the episode 1? They're just like fixing like camera angles and things like that.
Now, would that be like some meta show where it's written where the diagnosis happens as part of what's in the script? Or would that be they're shooting it and then they leave some of the outtakes in?
A mix of everything. It would make it more interesting if there was like, you know, little like planted plot details behind the scenes where like, you know, the crew members were being filmed and you could like tell them like, okay, like let's like do some improv, but like, you know, try to like create something, make something happen, you know, for entertainment purposes.
That's like reality television.
It is. Except I'd want it like if it was me in charge of the project, I'd say, look, I don't want this to be like this has got to be like somewhat real too, but not too real. Like kind of like still in a TV show format. Not like real life problems going on, but kind of like just something ridiculous happens. I don't know, like George Bush shows up on set or something behind the scenes and it just causes a mess. And the actors are all pissed off because now the attention's taken away from them. George Bush is a fan of the show, which nobody wants him to be a fan of your show. That's just
So are you talking
awful.
about where it's like the way it's presented that it's ridiculous things that are happening on set and it's kind of like a fun game, like the audience is in on it? Like that's part of the promotion, people talking about, oh, look at this wild shit happening? Or is it more presented as, oh, this is a regular show, and then all this extra stuff kind of just gets sprinkled in?
I'd say a combination of everything. I'd say the audience won't know what's going on. Like maybe they'll think they're watching a regular show, and all of a sudden they'll be like, "What the hell's going on? Like what? There's a the camera guys in the shot? What's going on? Is this just a shitty show? Like, did they just forget to, are they just filming the background? And then it'll be like, no. And this guy, like, he's pissed off. Like someone like took his sandwich. He's like, he's having a bad day. One quits in the middle of the show, just like, he's like, fuck it, I can't do it. I'm out of here, and just leaves. And everyone's like, what are we gonna do? We don't have a guy to man the mic or whatever the position is. And the whole thing just starts downward sliding.
So at the beginning, it's a regular show, and then it transitions into, behind the scenes show.
Kind of, but then they try to keep filming, and it
try.
keeps, yeah. The show tries to keep going on, but there's so many just struggles and things going on.
That's quite a. I think you might struggle finding funding for that.
Oh,
Only-
yes.
Only because it's not like we're gonna shoot for this many days. It's like such a loose premise that people who have millions of dollars aren't gonna be like, oh yeah, let's film a show, and then on top of the show also film the background of the show, and we don't even know if we're gonna use it or not.
Yeah, no, exactly. I don't expect getting much funding for a show like that.
But this is a show, and we're talking about our show, even if it's only happening tangentially. Like, we're talking about our show and how our show might be similar to a show where it's a regular show and then things are happening in the background and that gets incorporated into the show. It's kind of just like a proxy for discussing our show with like slightly different variables.
Yeah. I something about the name just has that kind of feeling to it. Either that, or again, it's like the show in the early 2000s. I don't know what show this was. Again, it's really weird because it's not very popular. There was like no like picture. I just found it on like IMDb. Yeah. I found it on that page, and I was like, what is this? And it's just a show that talked about other shows.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of shows like that now. There's like the Ben Shapiro show. He talks about the show, like the show of politics. He talks about that.
He does.
And then there's a guy that
Ben
calls him
Shabibo.
Ben Shabibo. That's what I was literally just gonna say.
Yeah, it's a classic.
Yep, got to be careful about those internet people, dude. It's an endless rabbit hole of good ideas.
Yeah, some could say that it could be a rabbit hole of it's like when if you take crack cocaine.
Okay, what do I do now? I just took crack cocaine. What do I do?
I mean, you just got to be careful, because all of a sudden, you're just snorting up this crack cocaine, and all of a sudden your brain's just going, I love it, and all of a sudden you're not paying attention that someone like threw some flies in there and herpes just dripped all over the, and
Oh my
just
God. Where are you
it's
supplying
just
this crack cocaine? That's horrible. It has herpes in it.
yeah. I mean, the person just supplying it just started throwing stuff in there, and
Yeah.
after a while, it's just yeah.
Yeah, be careful of who your supplier of crack cocaine is. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and by the way, we don't advocate doing crack cocaine on the show, but just to be clear, we're not advocating that. I'm just saying be careful, because not only are you doing crack cocaine, but you got everything in there now.
You might get a sexually transmitted disease, and all you thought you were gonna do was gonna get high for a couple hours. So, yeah, I agree. We don't support that on the show, doing it on the show, or doing it outside of the show. But if you are gonna smoke, do it outside.
Yeah, follow the rules.
Well, if you own a residence, you can smoke anywhere you want, I guess, right?
Yeah. I mean, unless you're like renting or something, and it's technically, I guess, someone else's
Yeah.
place, and then
Yeah, I mean,
More complicated.
generally speaking, follow the rules, but that's pretty vague.
Yeah, because I mean, if there's a bad rule, and then people need to like, come together and say this isn't acceptable, then sometimes you got to make a statement.
Yeah, and you're a bad rule. Sometimes there's a bad rule. But then bad is like sometimes that means good now.
Yeah, it's the language can be like complicated sometimes. If something bad could be perceived as good to some people and then not so good to other people.
Yeah, that's dope. Drugs. That's sick. Cool. Sick means unwell.
Yeah, that
So
it
bad. Oh, they're bad.
oh, you're talking like badass. Like if someone's like, "Oh, bro, that's just a badass sick move, bro." Like kind of like when he's a skater, if someone does like a cool like flip and it's like, "Oh, yeah, gnarly, man."
Yeah, gnarly, shredded dude. And there's also like, oh, there's a beautiful person, maybe sexually attractive. You say, oh, she's bad, dude. She's bad. Like, I can't even believe her clothes can contain.
Wait, you cut out. That was the worst moment to cut out. It just